right, guys. Hey, welcome to our first episode of the Faithful Football Vlog. I'm Brian Guzman. I'm kind of the host. This is my boy Eric Crocker. He has a very long credential of football credits, and he's gonna break it down in ways that I can't. I've had this type of discussion a lot where people try to tell people like Mark Schlereth and these other guys who are on TV or on radio who played in the NFL for 15 years and try to tell them how things work or try to tell them that they're wrong about something when it's like you have no idea. You can't tell me that you have an extensive knowledge of the game like a guy who played it for 15 years professionally. And so that's why I love being friends with a guy like Eric, because he can come in and he can give validity to not just opinions, but just things that are going on with the 49ers and also around the league. So before we get into the 49ers stuff, obviously the Super Bowl was less than a week ago. It was pretty interesting. Just quick takes about it, some quick opinions.
I think for me, the most surprising thing is, how well Foles played. I don't think I was, I'm going to say super shocked. I mean, there's been stints where Foles played at a high level, saw him throw 7 touchdowns against the Raiders in one game.
Right.
So he has played games and had times where he played at an elite level. Oh my gosh.
An elite level, yeah.
Played at an elite level. So I went it back. So we have seen times where he's played at an elite level, but he had a short stint with the Rams that didn't go so well. But it seems like nothing goes well with Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, exactly.
So he to see how he played down the stretch, he's a little shaky versus the Raiders. But then he finished strong.
Yeah.
Winning a few playoff games and knocking off Tom Brady, man.
Did you see that video that was posted out on social media of Jeff Fisher cutting Nick Foles last year?
No,
Dude, it was hilarious, dude. Like, Jeff Fisher, he's being professional. He's a professional guy. He's a coach, right? And he's cutting him. And he's like, well, I just hope you land on your feet and, all the best. Typical talk. And it's like, well, fuck yeah, he landed on his feet, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Shit, guy gone won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's probably the same thing. Was I shocked that Foles played that well? Not really. Only for this reason, because I really believe that Doug Peterson is a far underrated coach, and even I didn't give him enough credit. But seeing what he did with this team, and then seeing what he did with the team after Wentz went down, boy, that man can coach a football team.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that stood out to me in the Super Bowl more than anything, I'm always looking at the game. I try to watch games from a fan standpoint, but I always end up looking at it as a coach or a former player.
Right.
So I'm just watching it, and everybody talked about how poor the defense has played, but I think it was more so better offense than poor defense. I mean, as you just look at the play calling, how they set everything up. It was like, man, both offensive play callers had a game plan, and they went and they just executed. And for me, it looked like kind of defense was just helpless. I mean, when Foles is throwing, there was one play, man, where they had Alshon Jeffrey in the slot, and he threw this. He ran almost like a corner, but it was like a seam route, and he threw it to where Alshon had to fade to it. He was in the slot. He had to fade to it, man.
Yes.
And the way, and it just dropped right in between the corner and the safety. I'm like, man, there's nothing you can do about that.
Nope.
So just the play calling, the execution by Foles, man. Peters, he was on. He was on the goal line play. I saw Nick Foles called that.
Yes, you saw that video too, where they
fourth down, but just everything how it worked out, man. I thought they were spot on. Great job by Coach Peters.
Yeah, everyone was on the same page, right? Foles goes, "Hey, let's run this." And Peterson goes, "Oh, okay,
all right,
let's do
that's
that.
a lot of
Okay,
faith.
you want to do it?"
As your backup quarterback, but hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that also the reason why Foles played so well also is not just because of Peterson and the coaching, which I think helped a lot, but it's also that Foles had a certain mindset, and he even said after the game, you can't be afraid to fail.
right.
I ain't gonna go out here and be like, I'm not gonna I don't want to run this play or I don't want to run this play because I'm afraid it might not work. No. We ain't doing that today. It's a Super Bowl. We're underdogs. We're against the greatest of all time at head coach and at quarterback. We're going to go after them. And that's how you got to play the Patriots. I don't know why more teams don't try to play them that way. I feel like Jacksonville didn't play them that way. I feel like teams in the past in playoff games didn't play them that way. So, teams out there like, fuck, dude, go after these guys. They're not invincible.
It's a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Because we saw in the Super Bowl last year where the Falcons didn't let up and they tried to keep putting their foot on their throat. And they got into a situation where they were passing when everybody's like, just run the ball.
True.
And then it backfired. And
True.
And just like you're saying, hey, stay aggressive, right?
Yeah.
And Shanahan said, we played how we played all year. And in the biggest game and the biggest stage,
right.
It ended up backfiring. But it's like I don't regret it. People would regret something if they didn't do it their way and they failed. It's like, man, I should have just stayed doing what we always did. So,
right.
It sucks. I hear people talk about the Falcons game and, the play calling at the end, and it's like, it's a lose-lose situation a lot of times when you're playing against the New England Patriots, man.
Sure.
They've been in that situation. They always find a way, for the most part, to come out on top. It didn't happen this time, though.
And what was everyone saying going into the game? If you ain't up 20 points on them in the fourth quarter, you gotta be nervous. You know what I mean? Because you could be up 2 scores on them in the fourth quarter, and Brady's gonna bring him back. He's gonna find ways to get it done.
Also, I think a big thing, when we talk about Foles and the head coach, is the faith that head coach had in Foles to call his own play, to make certain throws, and when you have a team, a coach, an organization behind you, and they feel like they have unwavering faith in your abilities, you can come out on top. And going into talking about the 49ers.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect segue. Hell yeah,
talking about the 49ers
right there.
Jimmy Garoppolo, man.
Motherfucking G.
They put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, we're part of the FTW page and shit. And if you guys don't know, that's a fan page on Facebook ran by Roy Hampton. It's a very good page. A lot of good banter goes on in there about X's and O's.
A lot of trolling.
A lot of ribbing. Yeah, a lot of trolling too. But hey, what fucking group don't got some trolling in it, right? But anyway, so there's a lot of shit talking. Does he deserve this money? Is he proven? I see the word proven all the time. And but like you said about Foles, when you have an organization, when you have a coach, when you have your fellow teammates who are behind you, who believe in you, that goes a long way. I think that has a lot to do with why they gave him the money. They believe in him.
Right.
Because he came in, and like I was reading Joe Staley, what Joe Staley said today.
I heard it.
And he said that he came in and commanded the huddle right away from day one and didn't wait to have this like, oh, I'm going to feel it out. I'm going to see what happens. No. And he did it without being arrogant, which is the biggest attribute of that, because he's able to come in and say, hey, I'm the quarterback. This is what we're doing. Listen up. It's all me, and let's go on from there, So, I mean, as far as the money goes, because that seems to be the biggest problem, how much money. It's obviously the biggest deal annually in league history.
Right.
So, how do you feel about that?
I think, I was listening to Greg Cosell on KBR, and one thing he brought up was don't pay attention to the money, because that's not, at the end of the day, we're not paying the guys,
right.
And there's always a market, and I mean, I think the biggest thing is look at how, even if you don't pay, or you do pay attention to the money, look how it's, it's structured.
Right.
I took a look at, some of the details today, and after year 2, they can let him go.
Yeah.
So, he kind of got the Kaepernick deal. People say he's not proven. Most quarterbacks aren't.
Right.
Other than, Brady or Breeze. And, and at the end of the day, when it's time for them to get paid, they can become the highest paid quarterback if they choose to. If Brady wanted to, he'd be the highest paid quarterback right now. He doesn't really care about the money.
Absolutely.
So in a few weeks we're gonna be, talking about somebody else being the highest paid. There's gonna be
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers. There's gonna be Kirk Cousins. There's gonna be Drew Brees.
Yep.
All those guys, up for contracts and extensions and things like that. So
All those guys you just mentioned are all going to get more money than Garoppolo.
right, and deservedly so.
And
but
deservedly
at the end of the day, it's not about what you've done or whatever. It's about what they feel you can do and when you hit the market.
And it's something I heard Shannon Sharp say today is that quarterback is the only position, maybe in sports, that they pay you for what you are projected to do, potentially can do, instead of what you've already done.
Right.
I think if you look at any other position on the field, any other sport, guys don't get breaded out like this unless they've proven it, right? I mean, it's just the way a lot of things work. But I feel like in this case, like you said, just don't pay attention to the money.
Right.
Let the man go out there and play. $27.5 million a year. That's only $500,000 more than Stafford. So like I think when people hear that, like, oh, the highest paid analyst in the history of the league. Well, think about it. It's not that much more than the guy who just got paid the most in history.
And he has no playoff wins
6
either,
months
so
ago.
it's like, what,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, let's take this for what it is. Let's be real about this.
Yeah.
The last three guys who've gotten huge contracts: Andrew Luck, Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford. Andrew Luck ain't even on the field right now.
Right.
He might not even, and who knows when he's going to see the field again. Derek Carr had a very good year. Got hurt, hasn't been the same. Matthew Stafford, like you just said, he is what he is. He's a solid quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He don't get it. He barely gets his team to the damn playoffs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let alone win in the playoffs.
Right.
So I mean, let's just keep that in perspective for me. Is he going to be worth the money? I think so. I think he's come in and shown that he can be a good enough quarterback to not just for the money, but being our quarterback, being a franchise guy to lead this team, into the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, how I look at it, you come in, you don't know an offense. That's a tough situation. You're walking into an organization that's starving for some type of success, anything to grasp onto.
Yeah.
And they make the trade mid-year, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's so great." Everything I listen to is that, people from not just 49ers but other organizations or TV networks. Everybody's talking about how great of a quarterback he is, how he's gonna, I heard one guy say he just, helped the rebuild by 32 games. You know what I'm saying? So he basically sped up the rebuild by 2 years, and that was before he actually even took a snap.
Right.
And then he takes a snap, throws a touchdown against Seahawks, and it's like now the hype train is even bigger.
Yep.
And finally gets his first start, no touchdowns thrown versus the Bears, but constantly moving the ball up and down the field. And that was the thing that we saw, throughout his 5 starts. Right. Constantly, I've thrown out stats in the group chat. Guys are trolling, but I mean, he was top of the list in pretty much every category except 4 touchdown passes, but still points. Per game, points per drive, he was number 1.
Yeah.
So, small sample size, a lot of things can happen. But, when you have an organization that's behind you, fan base that's behind you, everybody believes in you. You have, opposing players tweeting out how they want to play with you and, hey, Jimmy Garoppolo is this, Jimmy Garoppolo is that.
That's not by accident.
It's not by accident.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody sees it. So,
yeah, you know what I mean?
I think it's going to be a good thing, and I think, this upcoming year, you'll see a lot of improvements, even if it doesn't show in a record as far as 12 wins, 10 wins, or whatever. I think you'll see a much improved team. And
I think another thing that we can do, we could kind of maybe wrap up the Jimmy thing on this. We're losing a little bit of daylight, but one thing I read is in the New York Daily News. I read an article. Did you know this? I didn't know this. The Pats reportedly they offered Garoppolo an extension worth like 17 to 18 million
a year, yeah.
And then
to be a backup,
and then increase that pay once he takes over for Brady.
Right.
And he declined it.
Right.
But that, to me, that just tells you what has been the best franchise in football for almost 20 years now. What they think of him. This is not by accident. He's not just getting this money off of 7 starts. That's another thing I'm always hearing, I'm always seeing. Oh, 7 starts. It's much more than just the 7 starts and what he's put out onto the field. It's what he puts on in the field in practice, what he puts on, in the team room, around with his teammates, with the coaches. It's so much more than just and it's like that with Aaron Rodgers, with Drew Brees, with Tom Brady. That's something that all those guys have in common. It's not just they go out there and they wing it and they make it happen on the field. They make it happen in the film room, on the practice field, in the weight room, with the coaches, everywhere. Every single aspect that they touch when it comes to that organization, they make happen.
What a lot of people don't realize is, Aaron Rodgers, he started 6 or 7 games before he got his big contract. He was the top 5 paid quarterback in the league. Granted, he was with the team that drafted him.
Yeah.
And he sat behind Favre for a while. But I think with the 49ers and Shanahan, those guys, I think they knew what they were getting. They've talked to enough people. You can hear from a lot of people that they knew what was going on inside that building. They saw a couple starts. He took over, didn't, lose a step. When he got traded to the Niners, it was like, okay, we know what we think about this guy and how we feel about that guy. Let's see, for ourselves.
Right.
And everything that had been said about Garoppolo came to fruition, in his 5 starts. He's not going to remain undefeated forever.
No.
But just his will to win a game with Trent Taylor and Marquise Goodwin as your number 1 receivers.
Oh, I mean, I don't think people give Garoppolo enough credit.
But they're not watching the game.
When he came in, I hear a lot about maybe you guys should have just I hear a lot about this Kirk Cousins shit, but it's like, do you think Kirk Cousins could have came in when we were 1-10, not knowing the playbook, and reeled off 5 straight wins? I don't think so.
I think that Kirk Cousins would play well.
He would play well,
under Shanahan, but I don't know if he has that clutch gene. And watching the turning point. I just watched the video, and you just see he said, okay, hey, we got 1 minute. Hey, how close do you need us? Okay, 35-yard line, 36-yard line? All right, let's go. Got in the huddle, took command. Hey, no penalties, guys. Hey, let's get it going. And he just boom, 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 marching down the field, kick the field goal to win the game. He's that type of guy. And, you can look at stats, you can look at these different things, but you can't really judge that. I mean, on top of the stats, he was top of the league in a lot of, passing stats. But
right.
What's in here? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And some people freeze up, and we've seen that, time after time with Kirk Cousins, where, in the time of need. I mean, we saw it with Tony Romo.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times, where in a time of need, that's when he fell apart. Because if you just look at the numbers, Tony Romo was great.
Right.
But a lot of times when they needed him most, he was hit and miss.
Right.
He had a lot of comeback wins, but he was hit and miss a lot, especially when it comes to the playoffs. 2 wins in 20 years for the Cowboys, 2 playoff wins.
That's not gonna cut
crazy.
it.
That's crazy. So
not for America's team. You're not gonna cut it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So just to wrap it up, a little bit of free agency, real quick. Obviously, overall, our roster needs to improve a lot. Right. There's a lot of needs. Edge rusher, cornerback. We still kind of need a number 1 receiver. Although, if Garcon comes back healthy, I like Goodwin and Garcon. Right. I think we need a red zone threat. Right. Carlos Hyde is about to hit free agency, so we probably need a running back. Mm-hmm. Offensive line. So there's still a lot of things to address. Right. But that's what makes this Garoppolo deal, to me, really important as well, because now it can be used as a tool to recruit guys in, mm-hmm. and also when it comes to draft, now you kind of have more of an outline of okay, we have our quarterback, we have our franchise guy, we don't even have to worry about quarterback. Now we'll either look at receiver, offensive line, or defense to help. Mm-hmm. You're able to have more options.
Well, it sounds like, listen to the press conference today, they're going to be very aggressive in free agency. They were aggressive last year as well, just getting pieces, hey, these guys, they can help the transition.
Right.
They got guys that will buy in, help the transition. I think, one thing that speaks big on Shanahan is at 0-9, the team didn't just tank it.
Right.
They got Garoppolo in and the team picked it up. You can, win down the stretch like that, with what was going on. That's players that believe in and see the vision of where you want to go. I heard he was leaving notes and, hey, don't work, just keep chipping away. Lost 5 straight games by combined 13 points. And finally those wins started rolling off. And, And now I think going into the offseason, you know, you can add a few key pieces, and now you know you have a potential, you know, playoff team.
Right. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like we have to go crazy in free agency. But look,
see the money.
if we can get right, exactly. I feel like as a fan, I feel like if we can get a starting corner and a starting lineman out of free agency, at least that, I feel like that will go a long way.
That will go a long way.
You know, and then with our 9th or 10th pick, whichever one we get, you know, depending the coin flip with Oakland, we can get a Quentin Nelson, you know,
right.
or a Tremaine Edmonds, you know, who. Man, I'll tell you what, I was watching film on that kid. Ooh, boy, that boy's athletic as fuck.
He's a big athletic dude. He's only 19 years old.
Oh, my God. Well, we'll get more into the draft our next episode. So, as you can see, the light is going down on us. And so I just want to wrap it up. Say thank you guys for tuning in. This is the first episode of the Faithful Football vlog. I'm still getting used to that word. Vlog. Yeah. I want to thank Eric, man. Dude, man, thanks for having me over to your crib. Hopefully, we can get this thing rolling and get some momentum with this thing. Check out Eric's article he writes for the 4th and 9. He puts out right now. He's putting out pieces on cornerbacks coming out of the draft.
Very in depth.
Yeah, tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so I've been doing a few write-ups. I've done Denzel Ward. I've done Kevin Tolliver. I've done Cyron Neal. And just write-ups, just to kind of go in depth on and highlight, what guys do well or maybe what they might struggle with, and hopefully, bring to light, hey, there are more guys out there than just the top guys that people hear about.
Right.
Right now I'll probably be done with it tonight, but I'm doing Josh Jackson. By popular demand on Twitter, I put a fan poll up there and see, hey, who do you guys want me to write about? I listed a few different cornerbacks. I listed Josh Jackson, Isaiah Oliver, Alexander from Louisville, there's one more, I can't think of it right now. The Davis from Auburn. So just guys that potential scheme fit guys, but I just highlight, hey, this is why I like the guy. I put the film. Hey, this is what he does well. A lot of guys weren't high on Denzel Ward because he's short. I'm like, man, hey, look, the dude can play football. I don't care how tall he is. 49ers had 3 guys over 6'2", opposite of Vakilla Witherspoon, and they all suck.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how big you are if you can't play.
Exactly.
5'10", long arms. Probably nobody better than better than them in the draft. So
right.
Just putting out content, man, and highlighting. Just defensive backs, that's what I know. So,
and not only that, we can't really, like we mentioned, we have a lot of needs. We can't exactly be picky when it comes to this guy's not tall enough. Well, does he play the fucking game? Can he play the game? Can he play the position? Can he come in and do what we need him to do?
Can he do what the team does?
Right.
And I think that's what people need to look at instead of looking at a body type.
And that's a big part about the pieces you write as well, is that you aren't just saying what they do well, what they might need to work on, maybe what they struggle at, or what they really excel in, but it's also how they would fit into our scheme. With the 49er scheme. It is a 49er piece.
4th and 9. 4th and 9.
Check
those out, man. Check those out.
So thank you guys again for joining in. And we will see you guys next time, hopefully very soon.
All right.